Okay, so it's day 75. I think it's 75. And I'll just get straight to it. I'm home. It's now the 27th. Well, this video is going to be uploaded on the 27th. And long story short, I had to do a fat drive home. It took 7 hours because of the traffic, which is fucking awful. But I'm home now. What I want to say is this. In terms of my current situation with finances, if I put the work in, I can get very close to this goal very quickly. If not surpass this goal, like astronomically, right? Like the possibilities are endless once I have capital to just keep investing, right? But I just need to get my head down for a certain period of time, which I'm doing. And I know it sounds like bullshit, but you gotta trust me. And what I've realized is, with this, if you want to move forward more than anyone else, you need to learn how to focus on one thing at a time for an extended period of time. So I was talking to this guy on Twitter yesterday, day before, and his name is Finn. He's called Finn Wrights or something. I'm gonna go through my replies. I don't really use Twitter much now. It's literally my most recent reply 10 hours ago. And he tweeted, the New Year challenge starts today. Not 1st of January. No more scrolling on any platform. Check noties once a day, and in brackets, no more than that. My full attention is worth more than any amount of money in this world. I'm about to reclaim my maximum capabilities. And then I replied to that tweet with this. Not gonna lie, if you can limit your social media use, you can reclaim half of your day back. It's crazy once you quit because you realize how much time you would usually spend on it. Time seems to go so slow once you limit it like that. I say that whilst typing on Twitter, but you get the idea. So, what I mean by that is, every time we have a gap of our attention, whether we are sat on the toilet, or we're waiting for our coffee to be made, or whatever it may be, you've got just a gap of there's no set thing that you're intending to do with that period of time. I've said this in multiple videos in the past, but the default thing for everyone to do is to simply go and watch a video, go on their phone and go on social media. Doesn't matter what it is, they just know as an ingrained habit that their social media gives them that hit of dopamine, which is why it's a habit, because that's what your brain thinks is good for you, hence why it gives you dopamine. Because if you don't know how dopamine works, dopamine is a chemical or endorphin or whatever released in your brain when you do something that your brain thinks moves your life forward. Now, you're meant to get dopamine from fulfilling things like eating food or doing reproducing or all this stuff. But the social media companies have made it so that you get an incredibly high amount of dopamine from using these apps that you feel that you're pushing forward. So therefore your brain thinks that social media is going to move your life forward, and therefore builds the habit of going on social media because you always feel good when you go on it, right? So that's your default thing that you do when you have a little bit of gap of time that you want to fill. So social media usage just fucking piles up. Now, the issue with this is it gives you an incredibly high amount of dopamine, as I said. So spikes it significantly, and then you drop again when you get off it. So therefore you want to keep going on it to get back to that high of dopamine again, and hence how an addiction starts. The same with drugs. You get that high of drugs, you take the drug, get the high, and you fall off. You're like, oh, I want to be back up here again, because your body thinks it's good for you. So you go on, and then you get on and that's how you get on the addiction. So why I say this is because of this ingrained habit. Time just clocks up on social media because we will use it whenever we're in a gap of time, whenever we're stressed or bored while we're working. Like, for example, if you're writing an essay and you don't know how to finish the sentence, instead of dealing with the problem head on of finishing your essay, you'll go on your phone because it relieves you of that stress, it relieves you of that anxiety of finishing that sentence. That's your default thing. So social media usage just fucking compiles so much, and people spend, I think the average is like 4 hours 40 minutes a day on their phone, or 4 hours 30 or something like that, which is fucking crazy. So if you can just limit that to like 30 minutes, an hour and a half even a day, because in hindsight you don't actually need your phone for like much at all, it's just messaging, right? But you feel like you need to go on it because you have that subconscious feeling of you're going to miss out on whatever's on Twitter, whatever's on Instagram. You feel like you're missing out on something. So therefore you go back on it, and that's how they kind of be made. But yeah, if you can cut down your screen time and limit the dopamine you get, it's basically just dopamine detoxing, but limit the amount of dopamine you can get, you'll find that time goes so much slower because you're focused on somewhat boring things. And you know the phrase, time flies when you're having fun. If you're not having fun all the time isn't going to fly, hence why that phrase exists. So if you're doing stuff that's like menial, that's not too exciting, it's just writing or making a bit of content or whatever it may be, your time's going to go so much slower. You'll realize you have so much more time in the day, and in turn your life is just going to be so much more fulfilling. So it brings me back to my first point of focus and allowing yourself to focus for an extended, let me just check I'm still recording, allowing yourself to focus for an extended period of time on whatever it is that you're doing, because most people will start on a project and it will take them 5 times longer than it should do, purely because they're getting distracted 24/7. So if you can limit the amount of distractions there are, the amount of noise that there is when you're doing something, even if it takes a bit of resistance to like not go on your phone, which I've just pressed my keyboard. I know it takes a bit of resistance. Like you're gonna want to go on your phone. You're gonna have to say no, I don't want to fucking go on my phone. But over time it'll get easier. But you need to be able to focus on a specific task that you've said to yourself that you're going to do for an extended period of time. The more you do it, the easier it's going to get, of course. The more you do stuff like that. But most people, they'll just go and they'll always be like shallow working on a task. They'll never enter deep work on a task. They'll never enter the float state on a task because they're always going in and out of the task. They'll write a few sentences and check their phone, write another bit, check their phone. So if you can eliminate that, just that, going into the new year, you're going to have so little problems compared to most people because you've got over a hurdle that everyone has issues with. And I think that is the biggest drawback in our society nowadays, that people can't focus on one thing at a time. They always feel inclined to check their phone or check social media because they fear that they're going to miss out. And it always disrupts their focus. So you just need to fucking get your head down and work on a specific thing for an extended period of time. Whatever that thing is, you've just got to do it. So it's really just as simple as that. So yeah, and doing stuff when you say you're going to do it rather than lying to yourself. But if there's one thing that I would say going into the new year that you need to do, you need to find a way to cut down your phone usage and allow yourself to focus on just one thing at a time, whatever that thing is. Even if you're watching a film, challenge yourself to watch the whole film without checking your phone. Even my mum, my sister, my dad, they all fucking check their phones when we watch a film. Because they have that feeling that they're missing something. And they don't want to miss something. So they respond and they check it. Even though there's never anything there. So even when it's something like watching a film or whatever it is, just try and do it without any distractions. You go to the gym, you try and do a whole gym session without checking your phone. You're doing a task on your computer, you try and do the whole thing without checking your phone. You're watching a movie, try and do the whole thing without checking your phone. It's basically, it's the same thing. The whole, like, it doesn't matter. You've just got to ingrain the habit of you're doing this and that's the only thing I'm doing. So I think that is the biggest hurdle that people got to get over. And once you do that and you rid yourself of that dopamine, you'll find work so much more fulfilling. And I think procrastination will be much easier to overcome purely because you haven't got anything else that you could be doing instead, because you've limited everything. So whilst doing so, you then resort to doing the work that you said you're going to do. So that's why a dopamine detox is so powerful if done correctly. But I think there's better ways to go about a dopamine detox than just dopamine detoxing, because I've said this in a video before. If you tell a fat person to stop eating and they stop eating junk food for a day, is that going to change their habits? Are they never going to eat junk food again? Of course not. The next day after that, they're just going to start the same shit again. It's the same idea with your phone. You quit all right, I'm not going to use social media for the next 24 hours. Okay. But then you're just going to go straight back to your old habits again the day after. It doesn't fix the problem. It fixes the problem for a day. You need an actual fix that you can extend long term. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you the best way to do it, but I mean, there's a way you can slowly ease yourself out of it. You've got to be, first of all, conscious of it. You go on your phone, you know that moment where you subconsciously pick up your phone and you go on it and you go on Instagram or Twitter unintentionally and you just find yourself scrolling straight away. Realize that you're doing that and put it down, or use an app called Opal, which you can use and then block every app on your phone for a certain period of time, or block specific apps or whatever. So you've got to be conscious of it and kind of attack it head on. So it's the same. It's always attacking the problems head on, and controlling your mind really. And if you can control your mind and have full control over your mind and what you do, rather than just sitting back and being lazy and just allowing to kind of go about life like a feather in the wind, not really like holding on to anything, not really doing anything intentionally, then of course you're just going to get stuck in the hole that everyone kind of gets stuck in of not being able to pay bills or whatever. And I know that sounds naive coming from a 20-year-old, but I don't think it's too far from the truth. So yeah, if there's one thing I can tell you going to the new year, is try and limit your phone screen, or not just phone screen, but social media usage. If you can do that and limit the amount of impulses to go on your phone and hold off the impulses when they come, then you're going to be such a fucking strong person, man. Such a strong. If you could just hold off instant gratification for however long, like you're ahead of most people straight away. So I'd say that's the one thing people need to work on going to the new year. And I know this kind of I didn't do this on purpose, but this kind of ties into my newsletter. I did just write a newsletter last night on exactly how to set out your New Year's resolutions so you can be as productive as possible going to the new year and stick to your habits going into the new year rather than relapsing like everyone else does. And they set massive habits or massive things that you want to do going into the new year, and then they just fuck it off after the first week or a few days because it's too much of a change from their current life. So, and they don't know the benefits, they don't know why they're doing it, and therefore they just kind of relapse. So if you want to learn how to actually make your New Year's resolutions stick going into the new year and actually make a change in 2024, please feel free to go and check my newsletter out. The link is in the top of the description. I did release it at 2 p.m. today, but if you go onto the link and then you go onto read past blogs or read past letters or whatever, you can see the most recent one, which is how to change your life in 2024. So feel free to check that out. If you want to subscribe with your email address, that would be much, much, much appreciated, as I'm releasing weekly newsletters for the next year every week. So yeah, with that said, thank you for watching the video. I hope it's been of somewhat value to you. I do feel like a bit of a broken record at this point, but there wasn't really much to talk about in regards to my day and what I did productively and what I didn't do productively. But come tomorrow and onwards, I think I'm gonna have a lot more to talk about, because yeah, today I was just sat in a car for 7 hours and I got home like mega late, and now I'm here recording this. So yeah, thank you for watching the video. I appreciate you, and I will see you tomorrow night. Cheers. Thank you. Appreciate you.